history here on this edition of Pod on Lansdowne. History in the making, a very first in our show's tenure. We have a friend north of the border. We finally, at long last, have a Toronto Blue Jays correspondent. His name is Spencer. At Spence, I'm counting. I think that's 6 underscores after.
I think there's
after
6.
the
Yeah.
Yeah. At Spen 6 underscores on Twitter. Spencer with the dinosaur emoji at the end of it. Our brand spanking new Blue Jays correspondent to continue our American League East preview series. Spencer, thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for tuning in. I don't know if there's an exchange rate on the internet connection because of the U.S.-Canada connection, but regardless, we appreciate you having you on.
Oh, thanks for having me on. I'm pumped to talk some Blue Jays ball. So I'll do it anytime.
Again, we've been trying to get someone on because we've done these AL East previews the last couple of years now, but they've been incomplete. We had Rose on again last week for the Orioles. That's been consistent. Emily Nyman for the Yankees has been consistent, a recurring guest for the show. Rays here and there, but no Blue Jays. And honestly, I think a lot of that comes from, I can't speak for Jake and Liam, I can't speak for you guys, but Blue Jays Twitter, I don't follow too many of you guys. What's the vibe over there on Toronto sports Twitter? Because I might need to dip my toes into it more if it's anything like your posting skills, which are immaculate so far, from what I've seen.
Blue Jays Twitter is very mixed. There's a lot of groups. There's a large boomer population on Blue Jays Twitter, which is very interesting. There's the teens, that's what I call them. They're all the wannabe GMs of Blue Jays Twitter. And then there's a good group of shit posters, which I can definitely recommend. But it is a good group for the most part. It's not very toxic. You get into some of the Raptors and Leafs Twitters, and it looks violent. But Blue Jays Twitter, it's usually a pretty good time. It's pretty good.
Jake, as the residential biggest hockey guy here,
I was going to say I can speak from experience that the Maple Leafs Twitter is a hostile place. Yeah, I can. I've had some interactions with those people.
Yeah, I think Leafs, and I see a lot of Flames Twitter, Calgary Flames Twitter people are it's hell. It's doxing and very violent. I don't want to be a part of that.
Who hasn't dipped their toe in a little doxing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let he who is not doxed throw the first virtual stone. So that's interesting to hear. It sounds like Maple Leafs Twitter right up there with the Beehive, Swifties, things of that nature, K-pop stands, things like that. You don't want to mess with them.
No, you do not. You do not. I stay away from those people. But they crawl into Blue Jays Twitter every June, and they're the dumbest of the fans.
Fuck, I was gonna say every first week
of
May by the time the Leafs get eliminated.
Yeah, exactly.
The day after Game 7.
Yeah.
It was especially brutal. I remember I haven't been on Twitter for a very long time. Maybe 2021 I started tweeting, but I was an avid reader of Twitter before. And the 2015, 2016 season, that's when all the Leafs fans kind of hopped on, and they were at the trade deadline. Just trade the fucking draft picks. And it's no, doesn't work like that. But they try. It's good. It's good.
They have it in their hearts. But going back to Rounders now, our little sport that we like to talk about. It's great timing to have a Toronto correspondent on here now officially, because I think entering 2024, out of the 5 teams in the AL East, I think Toronto is the most interesting on account of them being potentially the most volatile of the group. I see a wide range of outcomes for this team. I could see them kind of faltering a little bit towards the start of the year and something doesn't necessarily come together. I could also see them going on a huge run because they have that potential within the organization. And Spencer, I wonder if you agree with that going into the year, because I see it's wide open for the Blue Jays. I have no idea what to make of them going into this year.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I've talked myself into them being 4th. I've talked myself into them being as high as 2nd as well. There's definitely a lot of guys on the team who, if they have bounce back years, Vladdy in particular, Alejandro Kirk, and Dalton Varsho. Like if those guys have bounce back years, it could be a completely different team. I think what's keeping me positive is how good the pitching staff is. I believe that's kind of the strength of the team. And it was the strength of the team last year because the offense stunk and no one expected that. So I'm pretty positive, but at the same time, yeah, I could see them being fourth because they didn't do too much to the roster to improve the team. But yeah, I would agree.
Well, they certainly tried. They
tried.
Do you want to walk us through that experience, the Shohei Ohtani experience, the ups and downs?
He's
you
on
went
the
through
plane.
That? Yeah, he's on the plane.
Oh my God!
Take us through that as a Jays fan.
That's when you could have used the Maple Leafs fans there to dox his location at the time. You know what I mean?
That was a great day. It was like a really fun day for me because I had like just given my 2 weeks notice at a job and had signed a contract with another job. So like I wasn't working because it was like a Wednesday or something when it happened. So I had nothing to do but be on my phone that day. And my screen time, like I check it. And like that day, most weeks it's like you're on it for 4 to 5 hours a day. Some people, I know Liam, I think you have to work on social media, so it's higher. But I remember you never log off. I remember the Shohei Ohtani day. It was like I was on my phone for 16 hours. Like I was just.
Hey, you got to lock in when something like that happens.
You do, and it was just such a fun day. And it was. I think it was just fun to be a part of. It was great that they were talking about it, and it was potential. And apparently, they did offer $650 million to Shohei, which is a lot. But the tracking the plane stuff was funny. People were tracking the plane the night before, and then just all the conspiracy theories coming out afterwards. This random account started tracking the plane the night before, and it was the agent using the team as leverage. All of these fucking crazy conspiracies coming out afterwards. But mostly it was a really fun day to be a part of Blue Jays Twitter. And it was nice to be in the conversation. It was fun. I thought it was fun. I'm looking back at it now and laughing, so I'm all good with it now.
And by the way, don't put in the newspaper that he got mad that he didn't sign in there. He's actually laughing. Yeah. No.
Wait, wasn't the plane?
It was Robert Herjavec.
Yes, the guy from Shark Tank.
Yeah, Shark Tank. What is Shark Tank for you? It has a different name.
Dragon's Den.
That's right. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I never knew that.
That's way harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just it's way less deals. But the Robert Herjavec was on Dragon's Den, and that Kevin guy, the bald guy, was also on Dragon's Den. Yeah, so he's from Toronto as well. So they both started on Dragon's Den, and it's the same show. You can binge both of them. They're the same show. But yeah, he was on the plane, and people also started having conspiracies because they're the guy who's Shohei's agent has speaking conventions and he knows Robert Herjavec. It was silly. The conspiracy people were tying together. Yeah, but and then also you had some very notable Canadian reporters who were tweeting oh, it's time, and one guy who works for a network up here was there's a press conference at 6 p.m. That never fucking happened.
I forgot about that guy. Yeah.
It was also Morosi was all in on this too, right? He was
oh yeah,
Morosi
he was
reporting that he was going to Toronto.
Yeah, he did, and then it's actually pretty funny because I don't know if these DMs are real, but Blue Jays fans will continuously reply in his tweets. And then he's DM'd, I think, a few people I'm sorry. I hope to gain back your trust this season. I don't know if those DMs are real, but they're funny that he even
they sound too funny to make up. You know what I mean? Too unique.
But Morosi was all in on it, and then our big network up here, Sportsnet, was retweeting it, and then Sportsnet writers afterwards were you can't trust everything you see online. So it was just a bad look for the Blue Jays beat too. It was not good.
Roller coaster of emotions, and then of all people to throw cold water on it, you're in a unique position to explain this, and we're on a unique podcast because he introduces the show week in and week out. Bob Nightingale being the guy to say, and I quote, Shohei Ohtani is not in Toronto. Ohtani is not on a flight to Toronto. Ohtani is at home in Southern California. Had to have just felt like a shotgun blast to the chest, no? Of all people.
It did.
Boom.
It did. Yeah, but I love Bob, and I just always take his tweets with a grain of salt. So yeah, that was a heartbreaker for him to break that news. But I love Bob. Respect Bob. Love when he brought bagels to the negotiations.
Yeah, during the strike.
Bob,
he was the hero of the lockout. Let's be real.
Bob post lockout has actually been. I think he's been quite strong, right? Like I think
he genuinely is
years,
America's sweetheart now.
He is, yeah. He had a whole redemption arc.
Every now and again, he'll have a typo or
What's
something
his last
like that.
big gaffe? The Trevor Bauer thing, that he was signing with the Mets. That was a long time ago now.
Yeah, that was like 20. I think that was COVID. I think that was 2020. Yeah, 20.
Yeah, it was right before COVID. I think it was
going
right
into the
before.
2020.
Wow.
Yeah, that off season.
No, maybe it was 21.
But every year,
it was 21. It was going into 21 because Bauer
won Cy Young.
Won the Cy Young in 20.
Yeah, that's right, with the Reds. Yeah.
Feels like a
I love Bob. I always retweet his Osama bin Laden tweet every trade deadline. You know that tweet?
Yeah. The Phillies game, the Phillies and Mets game.
Yeah. Because then people see it on the timeline and they're like, what is happening here? So every trade deadline, I always retweet that tweet.
So good.
I'm trying to find the specific
Isn't it like Phillies and Mets fans rejoice?
Hashtag Phillies fans and Mets fans. No hashtag for the Mets. Hashtag Phillies fans and Mets fans rejoice together. Osama bin Laden is dead.
Every trade deadline, I always have to give that a retweet so people see it on the timeline.
So
and every NBA trade deadline, I retweet the Shams one reporting that Donald Trump and Melania got COVID. I always do that.
That's another all-timer.
Why is the NBA reporter? Yeah, I know. That was so bizarre. I love those.
I thought you were going to say the Shams tweet where he's like, lunchtime, time for lunch.
Yeah.
But getting back into the actual team, you mentioned the pitching staff for Toronto, which is consistently strong, and it's obviously led by Kevin Gausman, who I think for the rest of the time is just going to be the consistent, he might win Cy Young this year. That's a real, you talk about guys who might win the Cy Young. You throw Kevin Gausman's name out there, and everyone else around you is going to go, ooh, nice pick for Cy Young. Oh, he's really good, really good. I mean, that split he has is one of the best singular pitches in baseball, and it leads a pretty solid rotation. I know I mentioned that the Blue Jays itself, could have a wide range of outcomes this year, but the staff is strong.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, him, Barrios, who really had a bounce back year last year, Bassett coming off a 200 innings pitch season, and then Kikuchi, who's in a contract year and had a really good year last year. Kind of maybe the first consistent full season of his career. And then that number 5 spot, I mean, Manoah's saying and doing all the right things in spring training, kind of winning back the fan base. Yeah, he had a tough one last year, and he looks like he looks like he's in shape, so that's good. And then there's other pitching.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. I need to call an audible timeout. As a large man myself, can we talk about the mass the Toronto Blue Jays are accumulating?
I was going to set that up after the pitching thing, Jake. I had a bit going.
Okay, sorry.
Well, now the bit's ruined. I was going to... finish the pitching thing and then forget you heard this part.
Okay, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, we will get to the mass up in Toronto. Don't you worry. I do want to get to that. But yeah, you mentioned Manoah there saying the right things, see what kind of happens. I mean, his upside is still amazing. At the end of the day, we've seen what Manoah could do. I mean, he came in 3rd in Cy Young or 4th in Cy Young in 22.
Yeah.
This is going to be his age 26 season.
We could look back at 23 and it's just it's just a weird, what's the word? like,
Anomaly.
Anomaly. Thank you. I was going to
You're
shift
welcome.
over to outlier, but yeah, anomaly sort of a year could
Either works,
just end up
yeah.
being that.
It could be that like everyone kind of compared it to like all the Blue Jays boomers giving their real opinions, taking the app very seriously. We're telling us, Roy Halladay had the same thing, like he had 1 year in his career where he just kind of blew up. And like everything that could have gone.
I'm always comparing Mania and Roy Halladay.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And maybe that is the year everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. He stunk in the majors. He went and played like 17-year-olds in the Florida Coast League, FCL League.
They lit him up. It was wild.
They lit him up. Yeah, it was not good. And then like he got sent down and didn't report. It was bad. So now he's back. He was posting workout vids on Instagram in the offseason.
He's not talking about tire pressure anymore or any of those quotes.
No, he did have one really bad spring training quote already. He said, "Of course I want to be here. They don't give out World Series rings in the minors or something like."
I did see that
one. Then they make the graphics and exactly.
That's just
so
infinite meme potential.
Yeah, the tire one was really bad though.
Yeah, I think that's the crowning achievement. I got a couple of other ones here. I just type out Manoah quote, and there's like 20 of them on Google Images. If Garrett wants to do something, he can walk past the Audi sign next time. I forgot that was a good one.
Well, listen, I think Red Sox fans kind of their sort of disdain for him came from showing up with Bobby Dahlbeck and Franchi Cordero in a game as if it's some accomplishment to strike those two guys out.
Russell Westbrook yelling at the babies in the
I remember all of us tweeting during that game. We were all like, okay, what's that? What is that? Do you think you're special? These guys have like 400 Ks combined this year. I don't know. Yeah, that was that
wasn't great.
And then the Verdugo stuff was the other thing. They have their little.
What did he say about Verdugo? He said, he called Garrett Cole the biggest cheater in baseball, which was not a good one. He said that on a Serge Ibaka cooking show. And then I don't remember.
He's a real yapper over there. He yaps.
He's a content guy. He's good. Now, I don't remember what he said about Verdugo though.
I think Verdugo
pull that up
said something about him. It was like that because I think they got
two
into
certified yappers.
Two certified yappers for sure. I think he showed up Verdugo a little bit, whatever, in a game. But I don't. He likes to talk, which I can admire. I like guys like that, but you can't come out there and get lit up in the Florida Gulf Coast League if you're gonna talk like that.
If you're gonna be yapping like that.
Yeah.
Now, if
17-year-olds he was facing, not
exactly.
I have the quote here right now. It was just like he said, Alek Manoah goes about it the wrong way 100%. He was like, you can find footage of him in AAA last year.
Famously, guy who goes about it the right way, Alex Verdugo.
Showing up on time, things of that nature.
Yeah.
And then Manoah, I guess in response, was like, coming from him, I don't give a shit.
He kind of cooked him. He cooked him.
That was good. That was a good one.
Yeah.
I got his back on that one. The other one's not so much yet.
This happened on April 5th. Like the season.
Yeah, I remember it was right.
Started.
Yeah, it was the beginning of the year.
Fireworks right off the bat.
Now, he hadn't even. That was like when we were still in. It's a couple bad starts for Mania. It's fine. Don't worry about it, guys.
Yeah.
Well, I think watching that, I don't know. That was just what did he have the yips? Like what was the consensus? Like what went wrong there?
There's one report that came out that he showed up to spring training way out of shape. Like we're talking 300 plus pounds. And I knew that he had that one start against Houston where he was wearing the long sleeves, which is like wearing a t-shirt in the pool. It was like hot outside. It didn't
Weighs him
go
down.
well, you know. Yeah,
The sweat.
that's the one where he like blew.
I was a t-shirt in the pool kid. I'm not afraid to admit it. I had a swim shirt.
I once got wicked bad
he was-
sunburns on my shoulder once, and I had to be a swim shirt kid for a couple days.
I think that's worse than just being a fat kid.
Yeah, that's just embarrassing.
Eight months
burns.
ago, someone tweeted it's the first result if you look up Manoa spring training weight. It's just a tweet in all caps. Alek Manoa came into spring training at 320 pounds.
There's no way.
Question mark exclamation, and it goes on and on.
Is it from @Spen with 6 underscores at the end of it? Like
I think that was a legitimate report. Like that the off season before when he had just got called up, it was like a lot of workout videos on the Instagram. Then that off season, it was like Serge Ibaka cooking show, a lot of nights at Ruth Chris, and then the long sleeves popped out, and it went downhill from the long sleeves. So
now,
I'm trying to think one other arm the Jays have. Is Nate Pearson like totally a bullpen arm now?
Cooked, I think. Has to be, right?
I think he kind of.
Will they ever stretch him out again, or?
No, I don't think so. I'd be really surprised if he ever made a start again for the Blue Jays. He was like a top prospect. He got mono from a garden hose, I think, and then just never panned out. He's only going to be 27. He's only a year older than Manoa. I'm like, when he first came on the scene, it was like the fastball was explosive and never heard. He throws hard. That's for sure. Yeah.
And
he's had good stretches as a reliever. Yeah,
it's a good segue into the one. Like I've tried to do it. I think there's a little delay. I've tried to do this a couple times and segue into this because I'm really excited about this kid. I don't know if people are aware of him, the general baseball consensus, but I'm sure you're, Spencer, very aware of him. 21-year-old Ricky Tiedemann. Very excited. If just as a baseball fan, that kid looks like he could be nasty. And if Manoa doesn't take a step back, I know that Tiedemann's got like some day-to-day inflammation thing going on right now. I don't know how that's going to pan out, but if he is healthy at some point this year, dude could be legit a stud. He looks really, really good. Tell us about this boy, Ricky.
Yeah, so Ricky throws the pill with conviction. That's what we can say. He's like the best left-handed pitching prospect in baseball right now. He was touching like 97, 98 in his first bullpen session in spring training. And he was supposed to start the first spring training game, but he's dealing with some inflammation. And I hope that they kind of are able to use him this year and limit his innings. But he's gross. He's gross. I don't know what kind of role he could play. There's a lot of depth ahead of him. Like Bowden Francis is another guy who.
Rodriguez the kid
Red
from Cuba that just got signed.
Yeah, like we don't really know anything about him. Like I don't know if the idea is that he pitches in AAA to start the year, but Ricky Tiedemann looks like they want to stretch him out as a starter, and I think we'll see him at least a couple times this year. I hope that'd be cool. He's special.
Now we're recording this on a Monday to release Wednesday, of course. Like Thursday will come around and be like, breaking news, Ricky Tiedemann has to have his left arm amputated after this inflammation. So that'd just be our luck, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. No, the Blue Jays have a pitching lab. It's working, and I believe this is like the one prospect they've kept through these 4 years of like trying to contend. So I hope it works out for Ricky. I'm a fan.
Now, transitioning back to what Jake was mentioning about the mass on this team. You already kind of talked about Manoa. Of course, to quote Carabas, Vladdy Jr.'s ass is a wagon. You've got Kirk, who's a big, beefy baseball boy.
Massive.
Varsho has, some mass to him. I don't know if they're going to re-sign Matt Chapman, but he has, he's not like tubby or anything like that, but, he's a bulky sort of a guy. They've got some big dudes on this team.
He's a strong dude.
Exactly.
Dude, they just signed Danny Berger's Fitz too.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right. So
minor league deal.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's still within the umbrella of Toronto. So my question is
the beefy baseball boy. Might I add? He's
right. Yeah. Now my question is: do we think that with all this mass, especially south of the belt, that the cheap pants made by fanatics, is that gonna help the team with their mass, or is that gonna be a hindrance to the big beefy baseball boys up in Toronto? What do we think about that, Spence?
Tough question. I'm looking forward to. I've only watched one spring game so far, and I wasn't looking too closely at it. But Kirk in the new pants will be good. I think, it's gonna. Yeah, this is. Yeah, I'm a fan. I think it's gonna work out. I think it's gonna work out. Yeah,
Thursday
double cheeked
afternoon.
up the whole team.
Well, you had your Ice Spice tweet.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Vladdy's got a wagon. It's massive. He's got a large back.
Can I? All right. Well, actually, Vlad, that's good that we talked about Vladdy. Where do Jays fans stand on Vladdy right now? Because I'm a bit of a Vlad Jr. truther that I think like he's a 2021 merchant. And otherwise, like he's a good but not great player. They gotta pay him soon. So like, where's what's kind of the vibe around?
They've got
him?
some other decisions coming up on the payroll too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean it's a polarizing topic for sure. Like I think I don't know if you guys watch that show at all with Eric Kratz, like the one that's on YouTube for like 3 hours a day. But Eric Kratz in the offseason basically said, Jays fans are hockey fans. They're not very smart. And people got really upset.
But they're very angry people online. That's what they are.
They're very angry. And people got really upset about that. But he's correct. Like a lot of Jays fans are pretty dumb. Like they are thinking Vladdy's the guy. This is it. We have to give him a $300 million contract. There's no comp for a first baseman getting that sort of contract. And if you look at his numbers, like last year, he posted, I think, a 1 F4. Like if you think like if Kerry Carpenter's dad was a Hall of Famer, he would be getting talked about just as much. But they had the same F4. Like the nepotism on the team is just outrageous at this point. So it's difficult. Like he's the one guy who maybe he could get back to 2021 form this year, but some people say let's extend him. Other people say he's not that good because he's had one good year since 2019. So it's a polarizing topic. I'm on the team of he's not worth the money right now. Let's kind of see what these next couple years look like.
I was going to say, when's his team control up? Is it after 25?
I believe so, yeah.
Because
I'm not sure. Like, I think he came up in 2019. So
that may have been Super 2, though. He may have gone the extra year.
Yeah, it was late in the season. Yeah, I think so. Him, Bo, and Biggio kind of came up around the same time.
Biggio, I haven't thought of Kevin Biggio in a while.
Yeah, yeah. All three Nepo babies kind of made their way up in 2019. And we've been building this core around this team forever. And
I would pay Bo before I'd pay Vlad, I think. No?
Oh, for sure.
I mean, Bo's ripping like 200 hits a year, which is nuts.
Yeah. And he's a shortstop. Like his only blunder was drop kicking George Springer in the wild card game and concussing him. But other than that, he's been a pretty good player. He wasn't the best last year, but yeah, he's the guy I would extend first before Vladdy. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's steady enough. He's gonna like you just mentioned, 200 hits a year. If he's gonna hit around, high 200s consistently, give you enough pop up the middle. Just steady up the middle a bit. Yeah, you 100% pay that over the question marks, I think, surrounding Vlad Jr. that we've just talked about.
You alluded to it. Do you think that it's like it really is just a name thing? Like I've tweeted many times that
Vladimir Smith.
Yeah, like if Vlad's dad was an accountant, he'd be like Adam Lind or something. Like we would talk about him like Adam Lind. Like it's not. But I don't know. I guess he's just a confusing player right now. I don't know. I guess you could call it a success right, if say he doesn't get back to 21, but he at least gets like a 900 OPS or something like that, at least that would be great, but he's been like pretty mid for 2 years now,
Yeah, absolutely. Like I'm with you. Like I do think the name definitely helps. And like I remember when he got called up, like all the announcers were like, "Oh, he hit that pitch outside the zone just like his dad." And it's like, oh, okay. It's like he's just not that though. Like he missed every single ball outside the zone last year. He's not his dad. He's like a completely different player. And I still think like the same thing is like with Biggio. Like people prop up Biggio as like this is the second baseman, this is the guy, and like they'll post the Felix Bautista home run he hit last year. Yeah, the name is definitely helping these guys out because they're not that good yet, and they haven't produced that much other than one year. So also to point out, Vlad won a Gold Glove in 22. And then last year, I think he was one of the worst defensive first basemen. So, like, it's
I don't know this.
Beyond...
Was that a narrative Gold Glove, or was he actually good? I'm asking like.
He was good. He was good.
Okay.
Definitely. Like there was those years that like Juan Soto got Gold Glove nominations, and you're like, what? Yeah, like it was a little bit of that. Like I think he definitely won because of that, but he was actually good that year. He was like one of the better first basemen defensively that year.
So there's hope yet for Rafael Devers down the line for us. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. He holds a lot of mass too.
Yeah, I mean he would fit right in Toronto. Too bad he signed that extension.
He would love
what I mean? He'd be right there. You talk about adding some weight to that team. Adding another ass
that
that's
could
a
be
wagon.
He's actually deceptively more fit. Like his face looks really fat, but his body doesn't really match it anymore. He used to be pudgy, but he just has like really big cheeks. Like he looks like he's
the baby fat.
12, yeah, but he's not. He's pretty.
I don't know. I saw that picture of him in the background of John.
He did
Henry
look. Yeah,
he did look a little hefty there. Yeah.
He looked fatty there. Yeah, you're right.
That spring training workout gear doesn't do well for a lot of guys.
No,
like,
I don't wear. I can't wear dry
look.
fit. I won't buy a dry fit tee. It's nasty business. If you've got any mass on the chest, it's over for you in a dry fit tee.
It's made for models. Those it's not good. Not
Brendan
good.
Fraser whale type beat and that kind of stuff for when you're talking Rafi.
Yeah.
Now,
wait, so I gotta ask. I'm looking. I didn't realize this, and it's actually kind of shocking to me. They haven't won a playoff game since this window opened. They've lost in the wild. They lost in the wild card in 20 in 2 games. Lost the wild card the last 2 years, both in 2 games. So what gets them over the hump this year?
Well, we hung a banner for 2020
for making the wild card.
Yeah, so that was pretty big
in unprecedented times.
But they didn't hang a banner for the other 2 years. Well, that one year we were an 8 seed wild card team. Like there was that one fake year, and they were like way ahead of schedule, and they played the whole year in Buffalo. Right. The other years, like I really like that's what's kind of frustrating about this team. Like we were better. Like the Blue Jays were better than the Mariners team that they lost 2-2. They were definitely better than the Twins team that they lost 2-2. What gets them over the hump? I mean, it's the core actually showing up and delivering. I think that's been the biggest issue, is that since 2019 we called up these 3 guys. This is going to be the core of the team, and let's build around them. We've had good off seasons every single year since. We had the George Springer off season. He's kind of slowly breaking down. Oh, and the year before that, we had the Ryu off season, which, you look back at now, it's kind of funny, but like he was probably a top 3 pitcher on the market that year. We had the Gosman off season when Robbie Ray left. We had the Chapman trade. Like Blue Jays the last couple of years have done really well in the off seasons, but the core hasn't shown up.
And
I think that's
I wanted
the big
to ask
issue.
you, this offseason specifically, were you surprised that I know the Ohtani thing aside, were you surprised they didn't add another piece? Because I really was. I thought like Bellinger would have made a lot of sense for you guys. I don't know. I just expected something. I always wonder is how come their payroll isn't doesn't Rogers owns Canada. No, like
yes,
like couldn't they just have an infinity payroll? Like how is money even real at that
taxpayer funded team?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it should be like we technically do have, I think, the richest owner in the MLB, but we've had like a top 10 payroll the last 3 years. Like it's
I know it's high. I just mean like
it's high.
It should be the highest, probably. I mean, realistically.
I think, back in the 90s it was. And they're out there offering one guy $650 million.
True.
But and they're pouring a bunch of money into the stadium as well.
Cup holders.
Like the stadium. Yeah, cup holders this year.
That's right. Good.
That's pretty huge. No longer will I have my drink kicked over by someone passing by me in the row. So they're like spending the money, but like you have to show that you can, like, you're actually doing something with this money. And so far it's produced 0 playoff wins. And unfortunately, their ownership is like a board of directors. It's like a bunch of people that probably don't give a shit about baseball. So I think that makes it tough.
I wonder what that's like.
Yeah.
What am I bitching for?
Yeah.
We have 4 fucking rings. Shut up. Sorry.
And Liverpool won yesterday. Like, that's a win for the Red Sox, right?
Yeah.
Not for me as an Arsenal Red Sox fan. Not for me. Well, I guess he beat Chelsea, though. So, because I hate Chelsea more.
We did it for North London.
Does Rogers own any other sports teams? Or are they...
Does Rogers
own a portfolio?
Like they don't own the Raptors, do they?
They own a piece of the Raptors.
Okay.
They own a piece of the Leafs. They own a piece of the soccer team. Like, they're invested into that company as well. They have the naming. I'm sure they own some pieces of some hockey teams in Canada.
Yeah, I think they have the naming rights of 3 of the 7 arenas that NHL teams play.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
They have Rogers Place, Rogers Center, and Rogers Arena. Right? Or
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they also own the network that the Blue Jays games are on as well. And then, everyone's cell phone is Rogers. So yeah, they own the whole country. They're a very bad company. They're like a terrible, terrible company. And like the owner, like everyone compares that ownership family to the Succession family. Like they are shit people.
Oh yeah, that was gonna. Do you have like?
Who's the Kendall Roy of the Toronto Blue Jays?
Guy, like, do they have a face that Blue Jays fans could be like, "Fuck this guy," or is it like?
Yeah, his name's Edward Rogers.
Oh,
Edward
that
Rogers.
Makes sense.
And,
that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, he hangs out. His dad started the company, so he, I guess, is but he doesn't want anything to do with the company. He hangs
he's
out
more
at
like
Mar-a-Lago.
Roman, at least early on Roman Roy.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So he hangs out at Mar-a-Lago and doesn't really care about baseball. But his dad is the only statue at Rogers Center.
In Mar-a-Lago, it all comes back to 45, man.
There's pictures of them together. So I was trying to see if he was ever going to the island as well.
Believe me, dude, I was praying John Henry made it to that island. Well, John Henry's in those circles, like the lib kind of, well, once you're that rich, it's kind of...
They call them Alec Manoa, don't they, folks?
It's a big club, and you're not in it.
And you're not in it. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Wait, did you say he's the only statue outside Rogers?
Yeah, that's like our biggest complaint of the arena is that like we have like this walk-off home run to win the World Series.
Yeah,
he doesn't have a statue?
What?
You should
Halliday?
You have
one of the
no
best
idea
pitchers of the last
baseball
couple
team.
of decades, right?
No, there's just some old 70-year-old guy that's the only statue out
Or Vernon
there.
Wells,
It feels like,
even?
no,
Alex
it's like North
Rios?
Korea. Just
Alex
one
Rios.
old guy.
Rios.
I'll go with the
no
the
Brandon
Mitch.
Wells statue.
No Frank Catalanato in there. Come on now.
Nothing.
Brett
John
Lowry.
McDonald home run on Father's Day.
John McDonald, 2013
2013
world
champ.
champion. John McDonald.
I mean, Jesus, dude, Joey
Yeah,
Bats
yeah.
with the bat throw against the Rangers. That's an easy statue that you can
Iconic.
make.
We should, but no, it's just
Jake.
one old guy.
Jake.
I don't
That
know if
is
I'm giving him.
iconic.
I don't know if I'm giving. No, I mean I'm giving the walk-off home run a statue.
Before that,
Joe Carter
100%.
should be a
Yes.
no-brainer.
Yeah, Joe Carter.
Yes,
Before.
100%. But I'm just saying, on top of
or Halliday.
dude, I would give a random stolen base from Alex Rios in 2007 over a fucking 70-year-old bum
Teams
owner,
are too
you know?
teams are too conservative with statues in general. Statues are like the coolest thing in the world. Every team
I
should
agree.
have. I'm sorry, small tangent here, but I went to a hockey game at Crypto.com Arena the other night, and they
Were you
have
sponsored by them? You get paid by the mention of
It's got to
Crypto.com.
plug them.
yeah, but they have like where you enter the arena. There's like 8 or 9 statues of Kings and Lakers players, and it's fucking sick. Like it's like Luke Robitaille, Gretzky, Shaq, Kareem,
George
like,
Mikan
and they're-
probably there too, you know?
Yeah, they're all laid out, and it's like everywhere should have that. That's so cool. Like statues rule.
It is cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is cool. Like the Leafs have a really cool one where it's like all the Leafs legends and they're like on the board. Like there's
it's
like
when they're
an
hopping
actual-
on the ice, right? Yeah, he's hopping the boards.
Yeah, like there's some
I've
cool
seen
ones,
that,
and I
yeah.
think that people want Kyle Lowry to get a statue too, and I honestly think he deserves
Just his
one.
ass.
But the Leafs,
Just his ass.
yeah, it'd be huge. Yeah, it would be huge, and always a little bit worn out than the rest of the statue.
You rub it for good luck.
Yeah.
Going in.
The Blue Jays don't have any, and it makes me upset. Like if you walk to the building and you didn't know baseball existed, you have no idea a team played there. It's a very weird stadium. So yeah, there's like an old guy outside. That's the only statue. And every time I text my friend, I'm going to the stadium. It's like, please meet under our telecommunication father statue, and I'll see you there in 10 minutes.
Jake might be onto something. Like they need to start building more statues in general of important figures, not owners, but like even if it's just pop culture figures. Because I don't know if you know this, a tangent to the tangent, bringing it back to British soccer. Fulham Football Club, the team there, outside their stadium, the mid-sized team. You know who they have a statue of outside? I give you 50
Beatles?
guesses, none of you
Tell
will
me
get
that.
it.
Are you going to tell me they have a Brian McBride statue?
No,
Is it Dempsey then?
it's Michael Jackson. They have a
Oh.
statue of Michael Jackson outside the
Okay.
stadium.
Which Michael Jackson? Which Michael Jackson do they have?
He is wearing a silver coat. He has the sequin glove. He's kind of doing like a jamona,
Okay.
like toe kind
So
of deal.
kind of in the middle, Michael Jackson.
It looks pretty scary. Maybe this will be the episode picture, but I'll send it. I'll send it into the group chats, and I'll send it to you, Spencer, over Twitter. It's horrifying looking, and I remember it was in this book called The Club, which is kind of about like the business aspects of the Premier League. And the owner of the team at the time, I'm trying to get their name right. I am stalling here.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's horrifying. Commissioned by the club's chairman, Mohammed Al Fayed. It was removed by his successor, Shahid Khan. It was not there after 2013. Liam, are you looking at it right now?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I was
Okay,
waiting
I'm
for your
sending
picture.
into the group chat
Shahid,
right
the
now.
But no, like-
Jaguars, Shahid Khan.
Yeah. same one.
Yes, the very same.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
What
So-
the fuck?
It's all
So
connected.
he played a concert
Madam
at
Web.
Craven Cottage at
Whatever.
that park once, and like the guy was just inspired by it. It's like everyone should know the beauty of Michael Jackson's music, and we should remember him.
That
by
looks
building
like a
statue.
video game screenshot
That's
or something. That looks like a that
GTA
image looks
San
like-
Andreas loading screen.
Yeah, it's something about it.
Yeah, I don't like that one bit. That's
No.
chilling.
Unveiling
I
and
don't like
reception.
that either.
The statue was unveiled on April 3rd of 2011 before Fulham's game against Blackpool. The reception of the sculpture was almost all negative. It was described as kitsch and received comments from some Fulham FC fans, such as, "We're a laughingstock. It has nothing to do with football," and "It makes the club look silly. I thought it was an April Fool's joke."
Spencer, if you were gonna build a statue outside, what's your pick?
And it can't be a baseball player.
It can't be a baseball player.
One baseball player, one
that couple. They should put a statue of that couple fucking up in the hotel. That should be.
That would be great. That should be there. That should be
like a permanent. Where they were, that same room. I want that like a permanent.
Like, you know, in Camden, it has like all like the plaques of like where the balls landed and stuff. Oh, like Sammy Sosa hit one here in like 2000, and
it's a memorial.
Yeah.
We had fans. We had one video, 2 fans fucking in the arena in the 500s last year, as well.
Yes, I remember that.
Around, yeah, that was kind of huge. That was big.
Is that in response to the fans from the A's who were doing that, or like did that prompt the A's fans?
That was before. It was before. Yeah.
Trent
said fuck off.
Like
they had a fuck off.
Yeah, like a week before. They had a fuck off. I don't know who I would put. I know that if you go to crypto.com arena, there's a
They got you too. Wow.
They have a Taylor Swift banner raised there. I mean, did you see that last night?
MSG. No, I didn't see that. But
MSG has it for Billy Joel.
Yeah, Madison Square Garden has a couple of those too. They have Billy Joel. They have like a fish one too.
We have one at Scotiabank Arena, and it's kind of cringy because like you're looking and it's like all the Stanley Cups, all the Leafs players, the one Raptors championship, and then a Bon Jovi banner. Like it makes no sense.
Yeah, TD Garden doesn't have room for those phony banners in TD Garden.
But you know what place did have room for some phony banners? To bring it back to Bon Jovi, this relates. I still think the most embarrassing banner in Boston sports was the 16-0 perfect regular season banner for the New England Patriots at Gillette.
That's bad.
That was bad. And they had it there for a while. Like, it was like 5 years or so. Then they had like a Kenny Chesney No Shoes Nation banner like right next to it, so it just shows you the importance of a 16-0 season without a Super Bowl ring. You go fucking figure. So, anyways, Spence, to wrap this up, I want to get, elevator pitch your head and your heart where you feel how the Blue Jays season will end in 2024. What do you honestly think this season holds for our friends north of the border?
I could see this team finishing in the division second or third. I think that the pitching staff will carry them again. I think that we'll see a couple bounce backs. I think Vlad has a good year from the start. I think Bo has a good year. I think IKF is a monster addition, and same with Justin Turner. But I think the guy who has the big bounce back.
How dare you steal him from us?
I forgot about that. Oh no. Yeah,
I wanted to ask you guys about that.
Treat him well.
Yeah. Did you all love him?
He's a delight.
You're going to love him.
Yeah, we're all pretty much every Red Sox fan is collectively pissed that we let him walk.
It's just had him for a year, you know what I mean? There's not many guys who could just play for 1 year and he leaves and everyone's like, "Oh man, like he was awesome to have around." But
he's just so young. Yeah.
Professional. He's a professional hitter. That's what you can say about him. Just
whenever they come to Fenway first, I know he's hitting a home run in that first game back. I just know it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be off like a Nick Pivetta curveball. Him and Vladdy will go back to back off Pivetta.
Ugh.
Vladdy's always good for one off the Green Monster ads.
Yeah, and just the stare down and then we don't see a home run. Last year he didn't hit a home run until June in the Rogers Center. Something like that. It was off.
Oh, that's right.
Pitcher. Yeah, so I think he's always a little better on the road. He loves playing in Boston for some reason. He's good there.
They'll trade for Rowdy Tellez again, and then he'll go him too.
I feel like they finish second or third. I feel like they sneak into the wild card, and I feel like this is the year that we at least win one playoff game. I would love for that to happen. I think that would be a very big win for Rogers Communications Incorporated and for the city of Toronto.
Yeah, it's going to help those board of directors there if they can get a win there. It's going to make those suits very happy.
They'll love it. They'll love it. Yeah, exactly.
Spence, if people want to find more from you, if they want to follow along with the Blue Jays during the season and beyond, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter.com. That's the only place. @Spen with 6 underscores. I don't
Look for the
write
Gengar.
articles.
Look for the Gengar.
Yeah, look for the Gengar. I don't write articles. I don't do analysis. I just tweet. I just
a true
react.
poster right there.
That's
I
real.
appreciate
That's so
that.
real.
Married
Yeah.
to the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Spence, we appreciate it, man. Thank you for taking your time. Would love to do this again next year. If there's anything else to follow up on with the Toronto Blue Jays, we now have our correspondent, so we'll keep you on retainer.
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Spencer.